In today's lesson, we are going to go over 9.2, practice number 2, which involves solving quadratic equations by factoring. The bell work will be reviewed, though. We do have an assessment coming up later this week. So this bell work is just a check-in. Want you to draw, write, or type something that you're excited for this summer. This one is a test question, so it says, what are the solutions? Remember, solutions are just a fancy word for x-intercepts. So 1, 0 is where it touches first. 6, 0 is where it touches the x-axis next. And if you flip that, if you say 6, 0, 1, 0, you would still get check marks. So whenever it says solutions, we are referring to x-intercepts. All right, notice here, if I highlighted the x-axis the best I can, sorry, it's a little crooked. Notice my red parabola does not touch the x-axis, so that would say no real solutions then. And lastly, what is the equation of the represented graph? Go through the answer choices to see which one. So just copy and paste until you get the line. Nope, not quite. I'm going to change this one to answer choice B, see what I get. Nope, not quite. I'm going to change this to answer choice C. Nope, not yet. All right, there we go. It overlaps, so we know that we did it correctly. Now this says, is this equation solved for 0? The answer is no, it's solved for -2. If you answered yes, then you can write your simplified equation below. If no, then you need to make it equal to 0. So it's equal to -2 right now. And honestly, all you need to do is draw your wall. To undo a -2, we add 2 to both sides. Now notice this +2 does not have an x, nor does it have an x squared. So those are not like terms, so we are just putting it in standard form. So now it's a +2. So I'm going to rewrite that. All right, now I can move on. 3 times 2 is 6. My b value is 7. So my 2 magic numbers are 6 and 1. So remember, that splits it up 6x, 1x. You have to go back to this equation right here. It is in standard form. You solve for 0. So in this equation, 3x squared is your first term. Your last term is now a +2. So if you go back to slide number 6, GCF is 3. Don't forget the x. GCF is 1. This GCF is just 1x, and then this is a +3 right here. Notice I did this incorrectly, and it was because I was rushing. This is actually not a 3. It is a 2. How can I tell? By checking. 3x times x gets us 3x squared. 3x times 2 would get me 6. If I didn't rush, 3x times 3 would be 9x, and that would not work. 1 times x is 1x. 1 times 2 is 2. So that was my fault. So let's check. Instead of plus 3, it should be a plus 2. All right, fantastic. And it doesn't matter which parenthesis goes where. I'm going to copy and paste now. I'm going to find the x-intercepts on this side. Please remember that we need to see the work. The work is going to take you not a long time. It is just going to be a 1-step or a 2-step. In this case, the x has a coefficient, so it's going to be a 2-step. To undo adding, we're going to minus 1 on both sides. And then to undo multiplying, we're going to divide. Now you can write your answer as an ordered pair, or you could just write it as x equals the negative 1/3. So that's going to be one of the x-intercepts. Now the next x-intercept does not have a coefficient in front of x, so this is just going to be a 1-step. So we're going to minus 2 on both sides. So it could be just the x, or you could write it as an ordered pair. For this, all I'm asking you to do is write it as a number. So since I know one of my x-intercepts is negative 2, 0, and then negative 1/3 is 0.3333. So I move my tally marks kind of away from each other. It's an upward parabola because our first term in our equation was a positive. All right, solved by factoring. 0 equals. Is this equation solved for 0? Yes. And that should say, is this equation equal to 0? So I'm going to actually edit that. Since it is, all you have to do is copy and paste. All right, so since it is 2x squared plus 13x minus 7, we can multiply a times c, which is going to be a negative 14. Our b value is going to be 13. Now, if you look on the previous slide that has the factor sheet, it's going to be 14 and negative 1. Now, those numbers are used to split up your x value. Now, this is the original equation. First term, first box, last term, last box. Now you want to do the GCFs. GCF is 2 and then x. Remember, this is a negative, so it's going to be a negative 1. GCF of the first column is just x, and then this will be a positive 7. Remember, you don't want to rush this, so double check. 2x times x gets me 2x squared. 2x times 7 gets me 14x. Negative 1 times x gets me negative 1x. And a negative times a positive gets me that negative 7. So now we're just wrapping the red factors into the binomials. Double check. Fantastic. I like to separate them by copying and pasting. You do you, it does not matter. This x has a coefficient of 2, so we're going to have a 2-step, add 1 on both sides. We have 2x equals 1, divide by 2. X equals 1/2, or you could have it as an ordered pair. And then for this x-intercept, x equals a negative 7 because we undo a positive 7 by minusing it. So once again, we need to see that work, so make sure that you are doing that. Doesn't matter which one you write first. Now you can make these tally marks small since it's -7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then 1/2. Upward parabola because our A value was a positive on slide 10. All right, is this equation, like I said, it should say equal to 0. No, it's not. It's equal to 12. So let's undo a positive 12 by minusing 12. Now, sometimes there may be like terms, but for these two problems, there were not. So we have 3x squared minus 16x minus 12. That is now your new trinomial, your new 3 terms. Write it in standard form, please. So 3 times -12 is -36. Now 18 and 2, 18 times 2 is a positive 36. I need one of them to be negative. So my b value is negative, so I know my bigger number is going to have to be negative. So then I have -18x and a positive 2x. I'm going to scroll all the way up, get this trinomial. I like to copy it just so I can see it. It's up to you. First term, first box, last term, last box. And then start finding the GCF. Greatest common factor between 3 and -18 is 3. X squared and x is x. Biggest number that 2x and -12 share is 2. Then we have an x. This is negative, so I know my first term or my factor is going to be negative. And the GCF of that would be -6. So put those together. This is factored form. You can tell the x-intercepts right away from it. Right, 3x plus 2. Undo a positive 2 by minusing 2. Divide by 3. We get x equals -2/3. Now we have x minus 6 equals 0. To undo a -6, we add 6 to both sides. So then we have x equals 6. So one of the x-intercepts is -2/3, and then a positive 6. One, two, three, four, five, 6. It's once again going to be a positive parabola. All right. Once again, it should say, is this equation equal to 0? Yes, it is. You should love it when that happens. So all you have to do is copy and paste it. So 1 times 10 is 10. B value is 7. Then that will be 5 and 2. 5 times 2 is 10. Add together to get 7. So then that's going to be my 5x and my 2x. Since I already have the equation saved, copied and pasted, I don't have to scroll back up. GCF is going to be x. GCF is going to be 2. This will be x. This will be 5. Remember, I did that very quickly. But the nice thing about that is you have that slide where you get to see it. Okay? So the answers here, it's not going to be here for your version. That was just a typing error by us. That helps us code if we write the answer first. All right, I'm going to copy and paste it. Now I understand a lot of you are like, well, the answer is -5 and the answer is +2. We just need to see that one step. So please just show us it. We would greatly appreciate it. So the two x-intercepts here are -5 and -2. Then all you have to do is graph. -2 is right here. -3, -4, -5. And once again, our A value is positive. You can tell that from slide 14. So my graph is going to go upward. And this is how I'm looking at it. X squared, that's really a +1. So since it's a +1, it's facing upward.